Welcome to the CompTIA A+ Prepcast presented by baremetalcyber.com. The Microsoft Management Console, often shortened to MMC, is a framework that hosts a wide range of administrative tools for managing Windows systems. These tools are used by technicians to view logs, manage devices, schedule tasks, and monitor system health. Unlike command line utilities, MMC tools are graphical, making them more accessible to new technicians or when working in live support sessions. These tools can be launched individually or accessed collectively through the Computer Management Console. You can also launch most of them using commands like com/pmgmt.msc or through the Start menu search. One of the most frequently used MMC tools is Device Manager. Device Manager displays all the hardware components currently installed on a system. It organizes these devices by category, such as display adapters, disk drives, or network cards. Each entry shows whether the device is working properly, using a small icon as a visual indicator. A yellow exclamation mark signals that the device has an issue. This could mean a driver is missing, the device is not recognized, or the system cannot initialize it properly. Device Manager is one of the first places technicians check when hardware is acting up. Device Manager is also the tool used to update, roll back, or uninstall drivers. By right-clicking on a device and selecting Update Driver, you can search for newer driver software either on the system or through Windows Update. If a recent driver update caused problems, you can choose Rollback Driver to restore the previous version. This is useful for troubleshooting crashes, performance drops, or unexpected behavior. These operations usually require administrator privileges, and changes may take effect only after a reboot. In rare cases, Device Manager can also be used to investigate hardware resource conflicts. Although conflicts are less common on modern plug-and-play systems, they can still occur with legacy hardware or complex expansion configurations. Resource conflicts involve items like interrupt requests, memory ranges, or input-output ports. These values are shown under the Resources tab in a device's Properties window. When multiple devices compete for the same resource, one may stop functioning. Identifying and resolving these conflicts can help restore device stability. Event Viewer is another essential tool hosted in the MMC environment. It provides access to detailed system logs that record actions and responses from the operating system and its components. These logs are divided into categories: application, security, setup, system, and forwarded events. Application logs cover software behavior. Security logs capture login attempts and access control. System logs show driver issues, hardware problems, and service failures. Using filters or searching specific keywords helps isolate relevant entries when tracking a problem. Each entry in Event Viewer is categorized by severity. A critical event means something has failed and requires immediate attention, often indicating a system crash or power loss. A warning suggests that something abnormal has happened, but the system is still functioning. An information event confirms that something occurred successfully, like a service starting or a device initializing. Understanding these levels helps prioritize responses during support. Many exam questions will ask you to identify what type of issue an entry represents or what next step is appropriate. When investigating crashes or random shutdowns, Event Viewer is an invaluable resource. Look for events labeled kernel power or bug check under the system log. These entries often appear near the time of failure and include codes or messages that can help identify the cause. You can correlate these entries with application logs or hardware alerts to get a full picture of the failure. This makes Event Viewer a key tool for root cause analysis. On the exam, you may be given sample logs and asked to interpret what went wrong. Task Scheduler is the MMC utility responsible for automating repetitive system tasks. With it, you can configure scripts, applications, or maintenance routines to run automatically based on a trigger. Triggers can be time-based, such as once a day or at logon, or they can be tied to specific system events. Task Scheduler is commonly used for routine cleanups, backups, updates, or diagnostic checks. Using it ensures consistency and reduces the risk of forgetting critical maintenance steps, especially on unattended or multi-user systems. Creating and editing tasks in Task Scheduler involves setting up a trigger, defining the action, and selecting any required conditions. For example, a task might run a defragmentation utility every Friday at midnight. The action would be launching a defrag command or script. Conditions could include whether the system is idle or running on AC power. You can also manage tasks using the SCHT-ASKS command line tool, which is helpful for scripting and remote task deployment. The exam may test your ability to recognize when Task Scheduler is the right solution. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Another useful tool inside the Microsoft Management Console is Performance Monitor. It allows technicians to track system resource usage in real time. You can view metrics for CPU utilization, available memory, disk activity, and network throughput. Performance Monitor uses counters, which can be added manually or selected from templates. You can also configure alerts to notify you when a specific threshold is exceeded. This makes it valuable for diagnosing slow systems or identifying performance bottlenecks caused by background processes or failing hardware. System configuration, also known by its command line shortcut msconfig, is another essential utility for isolating software-related problems. This tool lets you adjust boot options, disable startup items, and launch diagnostic or safe boot modes. If a system is crashing during startup or becomes unstable after a recent installation, launching system configuration can help identify the conflicting software or service. It is also used to toggle between normal and selective startup modes. This tool appears often in troubleshooting labs and exam simulations. The Computer Management Console combines many administrative tools into one interface. When you open it using CompTIA.msc, it provides access to disk management, task scheduler, event viewer, services, and local user accounts. This single location gives technicians a full view of the system's status and provides access to most commonly used tools without switching between windows. For small businesses and local systems, computer management is one of the most efficient tools for all-purpose support. The Services console, launched using services.msc, allows you to start, stop, or disable Windows services. These background processes handle essential tasks like printing, networking, and updates. If a system fails to boot or a program refuses to run, checking the services list can reveal whether a dependent service is missing or misconfigured. Before disabling a service, you should always review its dependencies. Stopping a critical service by accident can destabilize the system or cause unpredictable failures. Let's look at a practical example of these tools working together. A user reports that their system crashes when launching certain applications. Event Viewer shows a display driver stopped responding warning. Based on that, the technician opens Device Manager and rolls back the display adapter driver. After restarting the system, the problem is resolved. A new entry in the Event Viewer confirms that the driver loaded successfully. This type of integrated workflow appears often on the A+ exam and is common in real-world diagnostics. In enterprise environments, MMC tools are essential for scaling administration across many devices. Administrators can create custom MMC consoles with only the tools they need. These custom consoles can be saved and distributed to team members, allowing for consistent workflows and faster response times. MMC tools are also used in group policy creation, remote machine monitoring, and Active Directory user management. Understanding how to build and use MMC consoles is part of enterprise readiness. Event logs can also be exported for escalation or documentation purposes. You can save a specific log or filtered set of entries as an EVTX file. which preserves all metadata and formatting. This file can then be emailed to a vendor, attached to a support ticket, or archived for compliance. Exporting logs ensures clarity when collaborating with upper-tier support teams or software vendors. On the exam, you may be asked how to preserve evidence of a crash or show documentation of an event. Although MMC tools are graphical, many of their functions can also be performed using PowerShell or other command line utilities. For example, you can manage services using the getService or setService commands, and you can query event logs using getEventLog or getWinEvent. While the exam emphasizes graphical tools, it's important to understand their command line equivalents. This becomes especially useful in scripting or when working with headless or remote systems. Technicians must be careful when using MMC tools. Disabling the wrong service, uninstalling a required driver, or applying an incorrect setting in Task Scheduler can cause system instability. Always verify what component you're interacting with, and, when in doubt, create a restore point before making changes. If a mistake is made, booting into safe mode or using System Restore can recover the system. The certification may describe such a situation and ask what action should have been taken or how to reverse the damage. To summarize, MMC tools like Device Manager, Event Viewer, and Task Scheduler are foundational for managing, diagnosing, and maintaining Windows systems. They support nearly every aspect of system administration, from driver management to performance monitoring and automation. The exam frequently includes questions that test your ability to choose the correct tool, understand its role, and apply it effectively. Whether you're working in a small help desk role or preparing for enterprise administration, mastering these tools is critical for both certification and daily success in IT support. Thank you for listening. Please visit baremetalcyber.com for more cybersecurity information, podcasts, books, and more.